my company. All right, welcome everybody on YouTube. Tonight's host is going to be Aaron, W6AEF. We'll pass it over to him.
All right. Welcome. Hope everyone had a happy Easter this past weekend. Didn't overload on the candy. I know I did. At least my kids did. All right, W6AEF. I will be tonight's coordinator. This is the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net. Grab your favorite beverage, whatever that may be. Diet Coke, hard liquor, beer, tea, whatever it may be. Let's have some fun. I'd like to start by thanking the following owners and supporters for letting us use these repeaters and digital connections for the Anti-Net. The W6 VVR repeater and the Vaca Valley Radio Club, the Contra Costa County, California Fusion Repeater Network, the Freestar Network, and last but not least, WG5 EEK. A few housekeeping items before we get started. For those of you that haven't been with us before, this is your first time with us, this is the Anti-Net, but we do follow the rules. If there is any priority traffic, either now or at any time, please let us know. We'll clear the frequency. I'm going to check now. Is there any priority traffic at this time? I'm not seeing the transmission on the DV switch, Nick.
Better turn my mic on. Did you are you seeing the dashboard?
I am, but it's not changing.
Interesting. Try refreshing your screen because it's coming up on mine.
Okay, cool. Are we on now?
I'm not even hearing us on W6VVI.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I got it. We're on now. Okay. All right, guys. Just checking all the various connections. Back to the housekeeping items. Lots of things happen behind the scene here on the Anti-Net. All right. So the 2 Meter Crew is not an actual club. We're just a bunch of hams hamming around, young and old, learning and enjoying all things ham related. There are no dues, no fees, no forms. To be a 2 Meter Crew member. For more info, we will post the link to our Discord group, and you can always visit us on 2metercrew.net. This is an open net. Everyone is welcome, so please feel free to join us at any time. I'm going to drop here for a second. All right. The 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net meets every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time on both analog and digital channels. All this is scrolling on YouTube for those of you in YouTube land. For those of you that are in RF land and listening, you can access us locally at the W6 VVR repeater in Vacaville, California, 145.470, negative offset of 600 kilohertz, and a PL tone of 127.3 hertz. The Contra Costa County repeater system with 5, well, by now maybe 6 or more, knowing those guys, linked repeaters. You can visit ContraCostaFusion.network for a list of repeaters that are linked, that are also connected to the Anti-Net. All right. Connecting digitally, we've got Echolink at WG5EEK-L. We've got All-Star Node 51094, DMR Talk Group 314-9964, WG5EEK's YSF Reflector 24033. I mentioned the Contra Costa County Fusion YSF Reflector and Wires X Room 80280. And finally, the Freestar All-Star links of 2195 and 53375. We're going to pause, take a break. That was a mouthful. I'm not seeing the time, unfortunately, on the DV switch, Nick. I just see it turn red. Let me
so
see
you won't see the time on this one. The best way to see the time is either on Mike's or mine. Our Supermon page will show you a timer on it. But I'll just flag you down or just unkey you if we're going to go over. And I just fixed the connection to Coco Fusion, so we should be good.
Okay, got it.
To you.
Gotta have the Coco Fusion.
All right, everybody. We're working, for those of you in YouTube land, takes a village. I mean, you've got 6 guys here, all hams, all very smart guys. Nick behind the soundboard, making it all happen. So we just wanted to make sure that all the connections were working, and hopefully they are by now. If not, hit us up in the chat. The Anti-Net is also being live streamed on YouTube from the Northwest Ham Shack. So thank you, Nick, for all that you do. Please go out there, subscribe to the Northwest Ham Shack, give Nick a thumbs up. There's a lot of work that goes into this. He's got all kinds of crazy soundboards and wires running everywhere in his shack. So thanks for that, Nick. And finally, we're going to leave a little bit longer pauses for folks to jump in. Don't be alarmed for those of you that don't like awkward silence. That is normal. That is to be expected, especially with all the various connections. So we're going to be conscious of that. We want everybody to be able to get in tonight. So we will leave some room for folks to jump in. I'm going to let it drop here. All right. Couple of updates for those of you in RF land. We have the crew here on YouTube, KN6DAL on the soundboard, running all the comms for us. We've got Greg, KN6KIE. We've got Mike, WG5EEK, and we've got Brandon, WH6GHN. You can't get a visual in RF land, but we'll want to let you know who was out here tonight. We always like to start and check in with any new hams out there. This is a safe space. We are friendly. We do not bite. We'd love for you to check in with us. That also includes anybody who's upgraded their license. We had a couple of guys over the last couple of weeks, Greg and Bert, who upgraded to general. So we also like to hear from those folks that have upgraded their license. So I'm going to pause here for a minute. We'd love for you to come in and say hello. If this is the first time you've pressed the push to talk button, even better, but please come in and say hello at this time.
KN6 and QK.
I think I heard KN6NTK. Can you come back and confirm that? Or was it NQK?
Sorry about that. That was low power. This is Kilo November 6th, November Quebec Kilo, second check-in here. Last week I was able to get relayed as a check-in into Simplex, so that was fun.
Copy that. KN6, NQK. Hey, man, thanks for checking in. Glad you made it last week. I was out of town for the Simplex activity, so I heard it was a fun time. So glad you got to do that. I believe your name is Graham, and congratulations on, I don't know when you got your license, but thanks for checking in with us. Appreciate that. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is month number 2 here. Right now I got my my technician's license call sign March 1st. And it didn't take long to get it once I passed the test. Took about 2 hours to get a response, and then a couple hours after that, I got my call sign. So it was very quick, very quick. I'm impressed. Back to you.
Wow. Wait. I didn't just need to make sure I heard you correctly. You got your call sign in the same day? Did I hear that correctly? There's another young lady out here, Terry, and I forget her call sign, that had to wait like 3 weeks. And I know some of it has to do with the VEC, whether they're, sending things in through snail mail. But can you just repeat one more time how long it took you to get your call sign?
Okay, so given the current circumstances in the world events, it is encouraged that now you can do your remote test. So I signed up through the Alaska Anchorage Club and pay $15 to get in the schedule. And then once your time comes around, they they have you take a film. They have you videotape the room you're in, and then they have you on webcam. Anyway, it's quite strict on procedure on the exam. I passed the exam, and within an hour, I had my certificate of completion. And within a couple hours of that, I had my call sign, and it was all before the evening. So yes, all in one day, I had my call sign.
Wow, that's Graham. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's amazing. I think in this day and age with COVID, I think there's some of us who've done some of the online testing, and the way you've outlined it is how others have described it. But this is the first time I think I've heard of going in, taking the test, completing it, and then getting the call sign. That's pretty crazy. But thanks for sharing that. It's good to hear from you tonight, Graham. Anybody else out there that has recently gotten their license, wants to say hello, and or got a license upgrade? This is W6 AEF. All right. No takers. All right, we got a couple of people here in the chat. Nice to see you out there, Sandy, KN6BXX. You are a regular. Michael from Carmichael, good to see you. Who else is out there? Rick, good to see you. I know you'll be here for a bit and then jump back out. So if you got any questions you want to send out to the group, use the chat there on YouTube. All right, tonight's topic. What is tonight's topic? Things have been a little crazy at work for most of us. Let's put it lightly. So topic prep has been a challenge, let's say. And sometimes we at the Antinet like to fly by the seat of our pants. Having said that, we're going to keep things super light this evening. So you guys ready for tonight's topic? There's that awkward pause.
We can't wait.
Yeah, it's an awkward pause.
We're just holding on for it here right now.
All right, here we go. The suspense is killing everybody in RF land. Servando is going to teach us how to make a chocolate cake. It's a home recipe that his grandmother gave him. That is tonight's topic.
And we appreciate that very much, Servando. KN6DAL.
And 6K, and also it's resonant at 20 meters too. So thanks. let's see this.
I'm gonna let it drop. All right. Yeah, that's light enough. I hope it brought a few smiles to some people's faces. We're not going to talk about cakes, although all the hams I know like to eat. They like to eat a lot. And, if you're ever hooked up with WG5EK around a barbecue pit, that guy makes a mean cheeseburger, no doubt. Amazing. All right. So for real, topic for this evening, it's pretty simple. It's going to be some check-ins, right? So what does that mean? Well, it means we want to hear from you. Some of the best sessions we've had here on the Antinet, I've been talking to you, and that's what we want to do tonight. So we want to hear from you. So we're going to take some check-ins. We're also going to go around and talk to some of the coordinators to see what they've been up to, or not up to. I know some play hooky from work, so we'll do that. A few things to think about as we open it up for people to check in. Anyone have any fun April Fool's ham jokes that they saw this year? There's a lot of them out there, and I started getting hung up on one of them that I'll share with you. Did the Easter Bunny bring in any fun ham-related stuff in your Easter basket, i.e. new gear, yes or no? Or did you treat yourself? And any updates on projects, experiments, things that you've broken or about to break or blow up? I saw something on Discord. I think it was posted by KN6GST about a candle that smells like burnt resistor. I might have to get that. And then finally, another theme that you may want to hit on is if you've got any outdoor missions or any POTA or SOTA activations planned. So all open topics, but we do want to hear from you. I'm going to drop for a second. All right. Before we get started, we're going to try to follow an orderly process for check-ins. No, not really. This is the anti-net. There is no order. Everybody key up at once. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We're going to switch it around a little bit. We're going to start with digital. We always start with analog. So we want to give a little love to the digital folks. Anybody coming in, let's start with the Contra Costa Fusion network of repeaters. We're going to start there. I'm going to do my best to hear call signs, so bear with me. We've got a bunch of guys here coordinating and helping and chatting and listening to call signs. So we'll do my best, but let's start with anybody coming in on Contra Costa Fusion network.
Alpha 6, November Delta Romeo.
I think I heard A6 NDR. Back to you.
Yes, this is Rick, Whiskey Alpha 6, November Delta Romeo, up in Spokane, and I am using a hotspot to get into the Contra Costa YSF 80280 room. And I'll say one thing. It's not on the actual topic of Easter goodies, but on the net that I'm involved in at 7:30, tonight's question is going to be, what calculator do you use? So if I may digress, I use an HP 35S, and I like reverse Polish notation. Back to you. This is WA6NDR.
All right, Rick. I missed the W. Now, when you said your full call sign, I was like, all right, Rick Nungester's causing problems over here. Now, we're going to have you on one night to do a whole dissertation on Smith charts. So get that presentation ready, Rick. But man, glad you're out here. Always good to hear from you, and hope you hop back on after your meeting so we can say hello again. So yeah, thanks for checking in, Rick. Anybody else out there coming in through the Contra Costa Fusion YSF Reflector 80280 or the Wires X room? If so, come now. This is W6AEF. All right, nothing heard. The notorious K6BIV, one of the owners of the Contra Costa Fusion repeaters, I believe, is traveling, so he's not with us tonight. I did see him transmitting today at like 380 miles away, and I think he's going on a little vacation. So shout out to you, Tim. Safe travels. There's some chatter going on in the chat here. KN6GST is talking about lining bathtubs with the burnt resistor candle smell and listening to white noise radio static to relax. And my question is, do hams really do that? I don't want to know the answer, nor do I want that visual of sitting in the bathtub. Anyway, I was digressing. Let's go to All-Star. Anybody on All-Star? Come on. Check in, say hello, let us know what you have going on, what the Easter Bunny brought you, any ham April Fool's jokes you got sucked into, or any projects, experiments that you've blown up or successfully have set up. Come now.
Hey, comment here, KN6KIE. Hey, Aaron, maybe tell us about your story about the April Fool's one that you got into there. I thought it was a little funny. I think everybody needs to hear about it.
Yeah, I was going there next. Since I'm not getting any love from the all-star digital folks, we're gonna have to switch to analog here shortly. Yeah, so I was working, I was multitasking, I was reading. I forgot it was April Fool's Day, and I see this thing. It seemed very real. The way it was published, WSJTX version 4.0, FT8/V, narrow band, 50 hertz, yeah, all this stuff. And I was reading into it. The guy who created FT8 and FT4, and I was reading it, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I'm in. What do I need to buy for this? And then I kept going. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? So it was quite funny. FT8, the premise was FT8 voice, or it was going to take over single sideband, and I was just reading it really fast, and I started to get suckered into that April Fool's joke. It was pretty funny, and then I started looking on the internet. I'm like, I'm sure this has gone back many years. So there's stuff called SWR grease, right? So perfect SWR all the time, SWR grease, and it comes in a little tube. Then I saw pumpkin spice SWR grease that you spray on your antenna, like spray on antenna stuff. And I'm a new ham, and I know about April Fools, but some of the stuff out there is pretty funny. I'm going to let it drop here. All right. So before I open it up and check in with the folks at the W6VVR analog repeater, I'm going to check in with Mr. Webb, WG5EEK, see what he's been up to. I know he's got some fun gadgets that he's posted in the Discord here recently, so maybe he'll give us a cameo appearance of that new gadget. So WG5EEK, this is W6AEF. I'm going to turn it over to you here.
All right, well, go ahead and let it drop, then we can reset, and then I'll go for a few minutes. All right, so this is Mike here, WG5EEK, and yeah, I do have a new gadget that I got here in the mail from Amazon the other day, and it's pretty neat. There's a lot of people that say it's very hard to determine what your SWR is on a HT antenna because you're using your body as a counterpoise, for that. So holding either a giant test set or trying to hold it, like, it's going to affect it. So I found this thing on the internet. It's called a Surecom SW33, and let me try to get that in there. I don't know if it's focusing or not, but it's only about, I don't know, $44 shipped on Amazon, and it's really simple to use. You charge it up. There's a little micro USB on the top. It takes about, I don't know, an hour to charge, and it'll probably last forever. You don't really use too much of it. And turn it on, you just hold down the button, and then it basically has two modes that's documented. Apparently there's some other mode that's not documented, but really there's a LED light on the side, and it's on the bottom. If you look at the chart, that's SWR. I don't know, it's hard to see, and just take my word for it. And the top is power, so you can check your power output if you have it on a certain frequency, but the manual talks about, and a dummy load. But if you just want to check SWR, you turn your radio on, you tune it. Like this one right here is on 440. So I'm going to key up and show you that the SWR in this is an Abri antenna, tri-band, on a tri-band Baofeng. So let me go ahead and key up and identify WG5EEK testing. And then you can see right now it's about a 1.41, 1.42 SWR, which is pretty good, for that. And then I can switch to, let's just do 146,500 real quick, and then just check that. So again, WG5EEK testing. And then it's about, 1.9. It's not bad for a tri-band antenna, so I thought that's pretty cool. And I've tried some other ones. I tried that, that 18-inch foldable tactical antenna that Abri makes. It's like $11 on Amazon, and that was like 1.13. It was really good SWR, which I was surprised with. And then it comes with some accessories. one of the accessories is the world's smallest dummy load. This thing here, I don't know if you can see that, it's just a little SMA connector, and it's not really focusing, but it's 5 watts, and the max transmit time, the duty cycle, is 3 seconds. So 3 whole seconds, 5 watts, and I'm sure that thing gets hot. But if you want to check your power real quick on an HT, like, hey, this thing says it's 80 watt Baofeng, it's not going to be. It's probably going to be 3 to 5 watts. So you can check it with that. Like I said, it comes from Amazon. It comes with a box. It's got all the accessories in there, charging cable and everything. So it's like pretty neat. I think it was pretty fun. WG5 EEK. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions about that in the chat or in Discord, if somebody wants to use it, yeah, you can. You don't have to use that dummy load that comes with it. You can hook it up to a real dummy load. And so the other thing I forgot to say is this thing is, you can go up to 100 watts on it. So if you want to check like a mobile radio or something, you have to hook up another, dummy load to it if you're checking power, but it'll work fine up to 100 watts on SWR. I wouldn't key it very long, but it's rated for 100 watts. So I'm going to hold them to it until the magic smoke comes out. So if anybody has any questions, it's pretty neat.
Hey, Mike, Nick KN6DAL, there was a question. How much did it cost?
Yeah, so it was like $43 and some change, shipped from Amazon, Amazon Prime. So it came in just a couple days. I think I ordered it on like a Saturday, and it was there on Monday at my doorstep. It's pretty neat. It works. I checked it on a few radios and a few different antennas. I will tell you, the stock antennas that come with, like the what's this, the 878, right, that you have, Nick, the stock antenna that comes with it was reading a 19.99 SWR on 220 on a different radio that does 220. So if you are going to mod your radio and try to transmit on that, you need a tri-band or an antenna made for that, because the one that comes with it is just terrible. And really, it was getting like a 3 SWR, 2 to 3 SWR on 2 meters and 70 centimeters anyway. So
and realistically, I don't think that antenna was ever designed to be a tri-band antenna.
No,
and so
it wasn't.
There's proof of concept there, and that I don't think that radio was realistically ever designed to be a tri-band radio, but
it's not. But there are some radios that you get, that people mod. Like there's a UBR3. It's like the one that Servando has, like that I've got one too. It's like literally, like it's this big. You can mod that for 220 as well, but I wouldn't trust the antenna on it at all. So.
Hey,
all right,
hey, Mike, this is KN6KIE. Out of all the Baofengs that you checked, dude, which one is the super 20 watt one though?
I didn't check anything except for the antennas. I didn't go higher than this tri-band Baofeng, because it does everything that I need. I know I just turned my thing back on, but this is a UV82 model, but it's a tri-band, so it does 220 as well as 2 meter 70 centimeter, which is pretty nice. And it was only like couple bucks more than the standard version when they actually stocked these things. So I'm happy.
I am super interested in that 125 meter. I don't have any radios that I could transmit over there, but I'm thinking Vacaville might need a all-star node on that frequency.
There is one. I think it's W6YOP. If I'm not mistaken, they have a pretty decent all-star network on 1.25 meters. And I think some of it goes up to Washington too, and like in the Bay Area. So there is one on the hill. I can find later what the all-star node number is, but they have a decent network on 1.25 meters. WG5 EEK for ID.
Exact question.
Yeah, go ahead with the question.
Mike, thanks for showing that. I just saw it briefly. Can you do me a favor? Can you post on the chat the brand name of that particular SWR meter, and then where you got from? You said from Amazon. If you just post it on the chat, I'll appreciate it. Thanks. KN6BXX. Great presentation.
Yep. I'll throw it in the chat and the Amazon link as well. That way, if anybody wants to order it, they can check it out. They don't have to get it from Amazon, but it's pretty easy to look at it from there.
Awesome. Back to you, Aaron.
All right. Mike never disappoints. And this is just another reason and my shameless plug for why all of you should join our Discord group. Mike has built 15,000 all-star nodes. I don't know how many Pis, all versions. I don't know about 15,000, but Mike is one of our resident experts when it comes to tinkering, soldering, putting things together, and experimenting. Very cool about the inline SWR meter, watt meter, and the 5-watt dummy. I didn't know that they had dummy loads at 5 watts. That's very cool. So Mike, thanks. Thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate it. And KN6BXX, thanks for the question. We'll be sure and get that posted. It looks like Mike just put it there in the chat for you. So thanks for that. All right, we're going to do a couple more check-ins. So a couple of topics to think, open topics. So it's really whatever you want to talk about, but here are a couple of things. Anyone have any good April Fool's jokes, ham related? What did the Easter Bunny surprise in your Easter basket? Any new ham gear? Any updates on experiments or projects you're working on? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Hopefully you didn't burn anything down, and any outdoor missions that you might have. I will call out to see if KI6UJH is out there listening somewhere on digital land. Doug, if you're out there, would love to hear from you if you have any motorbike trips scheduled around SOTA or POTA activations. I know you're very active out there. So if you're listening, please come on in. So anybody on analog, come now.
Six extra tall burritos.
I didn't get it.
I think that's KM6 ETB.
All right, Kellen, was that you? Something about a big burrito? Can you come back again with your call sign?
I go from Phonetics, that KN6 ETB. Little project I've been working on is converting a motorcycle of mine, putting a mobile 25-watt TH8600, was it a TYT, I believe, on my motorcycle, my little dirt bike, and I'm going to put a 2-meter 440 antenna, a actual little whip on the back fender. So I'm going to try and figure out how I'm going to get some good ground planing off of that, but that's my current project.
Wow, KN6 ETB W6 AEF. I would not expect anything less from you, Kellen. You are our resident, along with Mike, tinker, battery creation. That does not surprise me. That is very, very cool. I don't see a lot of folks outfitting their bikes with radios like that, and it would be interesting to see as you build it out. I know you're active on Discord. Maybe throughout the evening, we can pull. I think you posted one of the pictures out on Discord of the bike with the whip sitting on the back. So we may try to grab it and share it with folks on YouTube if we can do it while we're out there. But I like that extra tall burrito, KN6 extra tall burrito. Thanks for checking in, Kellen. It's always good to hear from you. Anybody else out there in RF land that wants to check in, say hello? We'd love to hear from you, W6 AEF.
How's it going, guys?
All right, I'm back on the air. K7 CBL. Oh, sorry, Connor. Connor just joined us. Good to see you, Connor. For those of you in RF land, not on YouTube. All right, we didn't hear anybody else check in from analog. Anybody out there on Echolink that wants to check in, say hello? Tell us about the SWR pumpkin spice antenna spray that you bought this past April Fools and what it's doing to your SWR, what you have going on from projects or experiments you may be working on, or any missions you plan to take with your radio. Anybody out there on Echolink? All right, we're waiting. Keyed up again. All right, well, no one's checking in, so we may have to pull out plan B. As I told you guys, the anti-net coordinators fly by the seat of our pants, whether it's a topic or, in this case, lack thereof, and check-ins. And the plan B was Servando telling us about his chocolate cake recipe that he got from his great-grandmother long, long ago. That is resonant on all frequencies. I'm just kidding. I am going to switch gears and give you guys out in YouTube land and radio land a few minutes to get your thoughts together. I've given you several topics. While you're thinking about the topics of checking in, remember to go out on the Northwest Ham Shack and press the thumbs up button. Be sure to join our Discord group. Go check us out at 2metercrew.net, N-E-T. And that'll show you how to get access to the Discord as well. So again, we want to hear from you. Some of the best anti-nets we've had is when you've checked in. So could be anything, whether it's the SWR grease and April Fools, to new ham gear, to projects you're working on, and any other things that may be ham related, or at this point, not ham related. It's open to whatever. All right, Greg, KN6KIE, we're going to let it drop here in a second. But I'd love to hear from you, man, what you've got going on with your ham projects. You've got a server rack, I think, in your garage. You've got some space for some new pies. So maybe some updates on what's going there. Let it drop. All right, Greg, go for it.
KN6KIE. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, you know what? I've always got something going on. If I could burn it out and break it, I'm about it. So that was actually the burnt resistor candle. That was me over on the 2 meter crew, quite honestly. But I don't need a candle to get that smell at my house because I just burnt out a little quad band radio that I was going to build another all-star node off of. You know, my own problems there. I'm trying some new antennas. I've got a end fed that actually ETB actually hooked me up with. I haven't put the thing up yet because I'm building a new fence on the side of my house, and it's exactly where I want to go. And our contractor ditched us, so me and my neighbor got to find another one. But that's a project. You are right about the server rack that I am building. I have I've got something stupid complicated going on in there, and it's taken me a little longer than I thought. But you know, these are ham experiments. I don't really have any kind of story to tell about a ham related April Fool's joke. So I think I'm just gonna pass it back to you, Aaron. KN6KIE for ID. Thanks.
All right, Greg, thank you. I think this is the first time you ran out of things to say. I'm very surprised. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, no, I'm just teasing you, Greg. It's always, you do have a lot of stuff going on at any one point in time. You know, it never ceases to amaze me every time I talk to you. Your whether it's the Unabomber push to talk button, again, my shameless plug for getting on Discord. You get to see some of the things that that Greg puts together, shady or unshady. It's always fun to see what folks are working on. We appreciate you sharing. I'm looking here in the chat. We got the Smoking Ape here. Bert's here. What did Bert say? Just got a new toy purchased in the mail from K1EL for practicing CW. So Bert, if you're on, come on in, and I hope you come on in and Zoom. But I think a couple of weeks ago, Bert, speaking about projects and things, you built a paddle, and it involved measuring tape and some soldering, which was pretty cool. Bert, if you're out there, I'm gonna give you a moment here. We're gonna drop and come on in and say hello. Copy that. I gotcha. Come back in.
Wind here from K1EL. I put his website on the page. I was like looking at it, but no, it looks like a little CW practice thing. Look up and look up the PC using Windows and everything. Hopefully I can get some good practice with it. But,
All right, Bert, I caught that. You heard that you heard that CW break in. You've been practicing a lot. What did they say? Can you code that in your head like the Matrix, like you're hearing the dits and dots, and you got that already? No, on a serious note, it was a little scratchy, Bert. But I think we got the gist of it about the wind keyer and practicing. I do want to say it's quite motivating to see kind of your journey. You've got your general in now, and now you're interested in the kind of the CW aspect of it. That's something that I know I want to learn, and I know there's some Elmers out there here in Contra Costa County that I've been talking to. So it's good to see you engage in that, Bert. It's motivating, at least for me. I know Nick's in a similar boat, KN6DAL, when it comes to CW and wanting to learn that. So thanks for sharing that, and always thanks for sharing on Discord some of the cool projects you're working on, Bert. This is W6AEF, your anti-net host this evening. Going to open it back up before we check in with KN6DAL and see what's been going on in his world besides work. All right. Anybody out there, all modes, analog, digital, we'd love to hear from you. I think I've given you enough time to think about the topics or lack thereof. It's open topic. So come on in now.
All I heard was my my fan in the background, so I guess I'll take it. This is Nick, KN6DAL. Thanks everybody for watching and coming on and joining in and participating. Yeah, this last couple weeks has been pretty busy for me. Haven't had a whole lot of time for extracurricular ham radio related activities. I ordered some resistors to create my own dummy loads, and I'm going to start kind of going down that path of learning a little bit more about that. I did have some time on Sunday to raise my HF antenna. I kind of flipped the bird to my local HOA and just said I'm going as tall as I can put it. So I've got these electric poles. They're kind of like a antenna mast, but they're not really designed for that. I don't know what they're really designed for, but they I got it up to about 30 feet, 28 feet, somewhere around there. And what I did notice is that my noise floor didn't change. I'm still experiencing some pretty horrific issues related to my noise floor, but when my noise floor is good, which is very intermittent right now, my receive is just phenomenal. But when the noise floor is high, it's really tough, and it's something man-made in my area, not within my house, and I've just been kind of investigating that a little bit. So I've got my work cut out for me there, but I do like to use HF on a fairly regular basis, so it's a little discouraging when that doesn't work. And then I had a really interesting issue happen with my Yaesu FT991A. So if anybody sees this and knows what could have caused it, my guess is that it's related to a front end overload, but my waterfall display stopped working. I reloaded all the firmware. There's 4 different firmwares that reload separately onto that particular radio, and managed to get it back, and it worked intermittently for a little bit. And then I reloaded the firmware again and managed to get it to function well. And so I don't seem to be having the problem anymore. It never affected anything related to receive or transmit, but it was a really interesting problem. I had to wipe out all the memories on my radio. And those of you that own or have used that radio know that it's not really the most user friendly as far as saving menu or saving memory options and stuff like that. It's pretty menu driven, and so once you get it where you want it, you kind of want to leave it. But had to wipe all that and start from scratch. But no big deal. Just took a little time and set it back up, and it seems to be working good for now. So that's about all I have going on up in the great Northwest. I am planning on later this year doing some hiking, some SOTA activities. I have planned in September. I'm going to try to get a permit to hike Mount St. Helens up here. And then there's a couple of other mountains in the area that are a little bit lower level that I'm going to try to do. I'm going to let it drop that, or I just blew it up. We'll see if it comes back. Yeah, it came back. See, I'm the long-winded one every time. It always ends up being my fault. But anyway, this is Nick, KN60AL. I have a few different hiking plans, a couple low elevation peaks that I want to do, and then hopefully towards the end of the year, I'm going to plan on doing Mount St. Helens. So with that, I just want to say thanks to everybody in the coordination group and all the effort that you guys put into this, and Aaron for hosting tonight. Much appreciated. And when we get a chance, I definitely want to hear from Brandon if he's available. Haven't heard from him in a while. This is Nick, KN6DAL. I will let it drop and pass it back to you, Aaron.
Hey, this is W6AEF. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, keep your eye on the timer, man. I don't want any calls that we're blowing up repeaters. No, thanks for that. Very cool about St. Helens, man. That you live in a beautiful zone, and I may have to piggyback sometimes and go on a mission with you. I know there are a few guys here locally in Contra Costa County on a local repeater that I've heard talking. Rob being one of them, KM6YKX. For those of you who know Rob, those guys are going to be doing Mount Whitney, and it's 14.5 and some change. Fantastic mountain. Taking some radios. I'd be happy to offer SAG services, staying out in Alabama Hills, camped out in my truck, playing radio relay. So any of the POTA SOTA stuff is very, very cool. And we'd love to hear more about that. So anyway, thanks, Nick. All right, I'm going to let it drop here in a second. Before we get to Brandon, anybody else out there? Yeah, you guys, I'm grabbing for straws here. There's a chat going on amongst us coordinators, and one of the topics that have come up about some of the broken Yaesu radios. I know Servando's had some problems with his FT3D. I think, it had something to do with the flux capacitor. There's chat about a flux capacitor. Does anybody know about the flux capacitor? Is that ham related? Can we talk about that? Does anybody have the knowledge to talk about the flux capacitor? Yes? Kidding. All right. I'm going to let it drop, Nick, and then we're going to head over to Brandon. All right, Brandon, you're up. This is W6AEF. You got to beat the flux capacitor.
Yeah, I don't know if I have much on the flux capacitor. Yeah, I wasn't able to get on the video tonight. I'm actually out mobile on the iPhone, so it's real windy. I try to find a less windy spot. Try to make it a little more regular.
You sound fine, Brandon.
Yeah. Well, recently I set up a node. Well, Michael helped me set it up, the Geek WG5EK, and we've been messing around with that, testing the limits of the cheapest possible Baofeng out here in the desert, Southern California. I got it about 2 miles out, so that's good. And I don't know if it was last night or the night before, we basically set up kind of a point-to-point off the repeater. So we were just kind of chatting back and forth while I was out here messing around. And that was pretty neat. But yeah, I've been pretty task saturated, settling in down here after moving out from Hawaii. And then I've picked up a new job. So just working on that stuff and glad to be here, and let's see what we can do. But this is WH6GHN down in the Mojave Desert, Southern California.
All right, Brandon, this is W6AEF. Thanks for checking in, man. You know, I'm an outdoors guy. So you mentioned Mojave Desert, SoCal, the Mojave Trail, another very cool remote zone that is on my bucket list. So thanks for checking in. Bert, I hope you heard that CW break-in when you jump on Zoom tonight. We expect a full debrief of what messages were being passed. So it's a very high expectation, but it's good practice for you. All right, we're about 7:52. Now comes time for the after party. I do want to give a shout out to Digital Analog Ham Chris 2E0UKH for letting me steal his background. This is not my shack. These are not my radios. If I had my hat off, you would see my bald head and antennas going out everywhere. So just a shout out to Chris. He's a big supporter of the group. He's active on Discord. He's got a very cool channel. But Chris, thank you for letting me steal your Zoom background. I appreciate that. We've posted the Zoom link to the after party, so please come and join us. But before we do that, I want to open it up to any other last check-ins, and then I'll give Servando a couple of minutes to say hello to the group. So at this point, any other check-ins on analog or digital, please come now.
Kilo 6, Eddie Van Halen.
K6, EVH. I love the phonetics. What's going on tonight? Thanks for checking in. I don't have you pulled up on QRZ, but what do you got going? What do you got for us?
Yeah, Roger. Jim and Tracy, K6EVH. And yeah, it's my tribute, my vanity call sign tribute to the greatest guitar player of all time. Just curious, I'm sorry I'm late to the party, but just curious if anybody saw the front page special at R&L Electronics on April 1st for the stretchable coax jumper.
Yeah, that I did see that, and I saw some of the dialogue on the QRZ.com forum. That was pretty funny. Yeah, you know, if you think about it, it kind of has a purpose if you can make it work. But yeah, that was a funny one. Again, I think before you joined, I was telling folks about the SWR grease, so the antenna spray for a good SWR, or the one I got sucked into was the FT8 voice that was going to be taking over single sideband, right? Just rookie maneuver on my part. Jeez. No, Jim and Tracy, thanks for checking in, man. Yeah, it's always good to hear from folks. All right, we got 5 minutes left, and as I promised at the beginning of this session here tonight, when we were talking about topics, we're talking about keeping you in suspense, and we saved the best for last. K6 SRV, Servando, what do you got going on, man? Besides your FT3D breaking.
K6 SRV, Servando here. Yeah, I don't, man, a cake, really, on 20 meters. What's going on? So, yeah, my FT3D, the Gucci radio, quote unquote, everyone calls it. Yeah, it just failed on me one day. The screen just didn't come on. I mean, you can touch the screen and it has all the character, like you can tell it works and it responds to touch, but there is no screen. And I can't even really confirm that it's even transmitting power, which is really weird. I don't know. I took it back to HRO. They gave me a little letter saying, we tested it. I'm gonna go ahead and drop.
Did anybody else hear that in the background?
Yeah, that was a break.
Okay.
So go ahead, break.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, break station.
I tried to check it multiple times, but wasn't heard. Before you conclude, I just wanted to get a check in K7NDO.
All right. I think I heard K7NDO. This is W6AEF. Aaron, tonight's anti-night coordinator. Did I get that right?
Oh, you sure did. You sure did. Kilo 7, November Delta Oscar. Indio up here north of Seattle.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for checking in. I'm not sure if you've been on the whole time, but, with all the various connections, we do our best to make sure that we get to everybody, that we can hear you. Sometimes we don't. So appreciate you breaking in and getting through. It's not on purpose. Sometimes we don't hear things. I think Nick needs to get his ears checked, maybe a hearing aid or two, but no, I'm just kidding. K7NDO, North Seattle. Appreciate you checking in this evening. All right, I'm going to let it drop here for a second, and then Servando, I'll let you finish where you left off about your FT3D. Let it drop.
K6 SRV. I thought that was a break, and honestly, I'd never heard a break come in through it like a, I was like, what do we do? I got to go check on my girls. It's got to be an emergency. Anyway, so the FT3 broke. Took it back to HRO. They tested it, confirmed it was broken. There's nothing they can do for it. I believe his name was Tim. Was it Tim? They wrote a little letter saying, hey, we tested it, it's no go, and we send it down to SoCal, where it's a 5-day quarantine for COVID, and then they get working on it. The weird thing is you don't get a confirmation saying like, hey, we got your radio, we're taking care of it, it's all covered, you're gonna get it back soon. No, you don't get any of that. So it's kind of a nerve-wracking thing, especially for the FT3. That was my lifeline to digital side of things. So that has forced me to study HF, and I didn't buy. Hold on, let me drop for a little bit. So Greg, KN6KIE, let me borrow a TS450S. It's a Kenwood HF station or radio, and an antenna tuner, and an antenna, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what goes where, what connects to what, but I got to tell you, it's been super fun to figure it all out. And I even repaired the little fuse on the power supply, the whole socket, took it apart, soldered some wires and stuff, tested it, it works. So pretty excited. HF is just it's a whirlwind of a learning experience. So I'm having lots and lots and lots of fun on that side of things. So maybe the FT3D going dead was probably the best thing that could happen to me, because the whole HF experience has been a lot of fun so far. K6 SRV, back to you guys.
Hey, thanks, Servando. K6 SRV W6AEF. We're at 8 o'clock, and I recently met Servando, and I just want to say, man, the stuff that you've been doing and your passion around the hobby, and it's much more than a hobby. There's all things ham related, but Servando, again, my shameless 15,000th plug for Discord and the community we have, and then the sharing of equipment, getting involved in people's excitement. Servando has as a young daughter that he often has strapped to his chest. And I have to say, for those of you in RF land, just visualize this, a small mini human attached to a very handsome, burly, dark-haired man, right? Strapping arms. All right, that's enough, Servando. But soldering, right? Soldering the things, the fuses he's talking about, or mowing the lawn. So this is a family hobby, and kudos to you. I've seen Mike out with his kiddos doing ham related stuff. So again, I think that's part of the hobby that we sometimes we don't think about. So I'm gonna let it drop, and then we're gonna say goodnight and switch to Zoom here in a second.
Hey, real quick, Aaron. This is Nick KN60AL. I just wanted to take a second to thank. I'll mirror what you said for Digital Analog. Hey, big thanks to him, and then also a big thanks to the Smokin' Ape. Both of them are pretty active participants in the Anti-Net and jump on occasionally and say hi. And they both have really fantastic YouTube channels, so go check them out. And appreciate everybody for coming out and saying hi tonight. And being part of the YouTube chat. And I posted the link in the chat, and it's also in the description on YouTube for our Discord. And you're welcome to come in and join in the fun and share info and news. And with that, I will pass it back to you, Aaron. KN6DAL.
All right, guys. Thanks, Nick. This is W6AEF. I have been honored, and it's a privilege to be your Anti-Net host coordinator tonight. But in all seriousness, I'm going to close down the repeaters from the Anti-Net, return them back to their normal operations. And then we are going to be switching gears, as Nick said, here to Zoom. But we wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to share the love, both digitally, analog, and on YouTube without the folks that we mentioned before. So if you haven't already, please go out and give a thumbs up to Nick at the Northwest Ham Shack and all the work he does to make this happen. The W6 VVR repeater and the Vaca Valley Radio Club in Vacaville, California. The Contra Costa County, California repeater. Now I'm getting tired. Repeater system, the Freestar Network, and always thanks to Mike, WG5EEK. With that, good night. Let's switch to the after party. I will return the repeaters back to their normal operation.
I always wait for just a second, because as soon as somebody says that, the repeater usually kicks right back up.
That's true. Yep.
All right.
Oh.
Well,
there they are. Bert, I expect a full report out of all the CW break-in, man. You've been practicing.
Let's see. We'll see how this goes.
Very cool, man.
It's got like, you could hook it up. I guess it goes through Windows only. I don't know exactly. I just saw it and I was like, I'll try it.
So what does that thing do? It hooks up to in between your radio and what? How does that work?
I think it hooks up to Windows. It goes through a program. I think it just works through that, but I don't know. I think it can go through like FL Digi and then through to your radio. So it might be able to do that.
Hey Bert. I gotta give you a little bit of a hard time, dude. You're so scratchy tonight, dude. You're so scratchy tonight. And I think yesterday too, dude, you're kind of scratchy, being like all this crap going on, dude. Why are you so scratchy from Green Valley over there? You need to get on your work.
Yeah. I mean, I was using it. It was on the mobile base that I have. It's like the antennas on the opposite side of the house to where Vaca is, to Vaca.
I'm just giving you a hard time, you know, brother. You know it, brother. I'm just giving you a hard time, but gotta rib a little bit. But you sound a little scratchy tonight, dude.
It's scratchy.
Well, you're Green Valley, right? You're Green Valley, so you're on the other side of Curry there in that valley, right? You should be able to hit W6VVR rather well from there, right? In Greens Valley.
Yeah, I mean, no, because it's just on the other side of it, and so it's like, it's over by that Costco. You know where the Costco is right here?
The Vincenzi's Pizza's right over there too. I love that place, dude.
Yeah.
Get the garbage slice. It's so yummy. It's the same thing, like, you know what, Mike's GMRS repeater he's got at his house. I only live about 2 or 3 miles away from Mike, and I could never hit that damn thing.
Well,
on
there's
any
a
of
lot
my
of dirt in between us too, man.
Well, yeah, there's just a couple hills, couple
Well, plus
strategically
it doesn't
placed
have
hills.
doesn't have the best antenna on it, so that'd be something I replace when I move.
What's that?
Getting a better antenna, like when I move, just something with more gain. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's not going to help from Arkansas, man.
Yeah, we'll hook it up through the GMRS version of All-Star, and then we'll just chat that one.
No, man, it's the flux capacitor. Don't you?
Oh,
I mean that we're introducing new concepts to ham radio. The flux capacitor.
I'm gonna put that. I mean that 5
The
watt
Heisenberg compensator.
I'm
Really.
gonna put
Need
this
more
5 watt
SWR.
dummy load on there, and then we'll be good to go.
Need more
Unbelievable.
SWR tape. Don't let
KN6
them know.
BXX, Michael from Carmichael. How are you tonight, my friend?
Hey, how you doing there, guys? Doing all right, just kind of chilling out here.
Did you have a good Easter with your family? Maybe get a little break from the route and get a little bit of downtime, you and your wife, son?
Not too bad. Went to church Sunday morning, off to my mom's and South Sac with a little brunch outside, safely distant from everybody. And now we got lots of extra ham. I bought a bunch of, got a couple pieces of ham I got as a gift from work, gift certificate back in November. So we bought some hams from Raley's, got them, and lots of extra ham now. So we'll be hammed out.
Yeah, I don't remember the other day. It was before last week. I was gone last week, but you were delivering tri-tip, and then you were like, well, I'm gonna get some tri-tip too at your delivery. Or they hooked you up with that, whatever place that was. I don't. You were raving about.
Lyra's Market.
What's it called?
Lyra's Market in Rio Vista.
Got it.
Yeah, no, K7CD, TJ was kind of twist smart to buy a sandwich after I finished delivering there. It was good. It was worth it.
Good. Well, it's always good to see you out here, man. It's always good to hear you on the radio.
Whereabouts in Moraga do you live?
I'm deep Moraga, man, like in the sticks. It's very small. So
Moraga.
Your relation to St. Mary's College.
So I'm probably a little bit over a mile from St. Mary's College. If you know where the Safeway is and the Canyon Club Brewery, or where the fake Osh is, so you know the I call it the fake Osh, right around there.
Not far from there. Okay.
Yeah, there's another one of the local hams. KR6 BBQ. Is it KR6 BBQ? BBQ, right?
Okay.
So he was he works for the delivery service and drives a big semi, and he was delivering a couple months ago to Canyon Club, and he pinged me, and we got to hook up. So that was fun too. So I was gonna say anybody that comes through, say hello.
Good. How's everyone else's Easter otherwise?
Go.
You know, I had
too much candy.
I had a really good Easter. I went down to see my dad. So my dad lives in Washington, and we didn't get to see him much when we were down in California, and we still are pretty far away. We're about a 3-hour drive from him. He lives in Ocean Shores, right on the coast of Washington, and he has a beautiful house there. We all got together, big extended family kind of lunch dinner, and I'll tell you, the spread was to die for. So he's got a Traeger smoker, and he put this brisket. It must have been a 20-pound brisket. It was just massive, and he throws that thing on, and we had. I heard a radio in the background. Oh, it's Roy. Roy, you got a radio on in the background, buddy. And then and there was a ham and a turkey and a brisket, and I mean, we just had so much food, and it was just awesome. And the funniest thing was my middle daughter, Allie, she's 5. So, you know, they don't know the extent of like where they're going or what they're doing. So we tell her we're going to the beach and we're going to go see Grandma and Grandpa. And after this long drive, you know, we get there and she gets out and she looks around and she goes, and we're at the house. You know, the beach they have a private access to the beach. You got to walk down this little trail, so you can't really see it perfect. but you can see it if you turn around and look. But she's looking at the house and she goes, "This is not the beach." And we were like, "Well, we're gonna go see Grandma and Grandpa, but the beach is right behind you. Look." And she turns around and she looks and she sees the opening to the water and she sees everything down there and she just starts walking towards it. Like, I'm not going to see anybody but the beach. That's what I'm here for. So it was a lot of fun.
Okay. What was the name of the town that your dad lives in?
He lives in Copolis Beach, I think it's called. It's right outside of Ocean Shores.
Near Ocean
Kind of
Shores.
in Grace Harbor area of Washington State.
Oh, okay. Is it kind of you gotta go around around that way?
It's south of that, so it's like south of the whole Puget Sound region. So you have the Puget Sound that kind of cuts into the state, and then below that it goes into a there's a river that feeds Grace Harbor, and then that harbor area is where Ocean Shores and stuff is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know my wife's close friend, her husband lived in the Poulsbo.
Okay. Yeah. That's,
So I'm familiar with that part of Kitsap County, but like
yeah,
Port
that's right
Orchard.
on the other side of the sound from us, basically.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, good. Beautiful
we-
area, I bet.
Yeah, our my wife and mine's honeymoon was at a resort just outside of Poulsbo, and it was so fun. We got to go out on like speedboats and play around on the sound and stuff, and it's a really beautiful area there.
Yeah, it's far enough from Seattle, but it's beautiful area.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed a great visit. Yeah, Bill, just stay away from Seattle, otherwise Washington's a good state.
Yeah, exactly. Man, look at Greg's sign in the background. Greg, that your call sign back there is just awesome looking, man.
My family loves me, man. It's pretty dope. I'm pretty psyched about that, man. That was a surprise too. I can't even think about changing my call now, dude. I'm just about it.
No, yeah, you're stuck with it. I don't want to get rid of it just because my
VAX.
kids know it.
VXX, have you worked on any new projects lately, Matt?
No, the only thing really, hold on. Lithium ion power pack, 300 watt.
There you go.
Like a portable power pack for
Yeah,
like
that's what
sodas
hap-
and stuff like
what
that?
happened was, well, one of my brothers gave me a $50 gift card from Home Depot, so I ordered online. It's about $250. I picked up at my nearby store, and I did plug it into my Icon radio, 65 watts. It does work. So if I have a power outage, if I want to do a little field day or take my radio outside my backyard, it'll work.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that ever since, like, you know, since Nick, that show on emergency prepping and stuff like that. I've been really thinking about like battery packs and stuff like that. I've got solar on my roof, but I realize the power goes out, my power goes out too.
Oh,
just
you know
so
what's
that,
you know what's funny that you bring that up, Greg. So I've been thinking a lot about that anti-net too, and I've always kind of had a heart for just the emergency comms side of ham radio, and I think you all kind of know what I mean. So you know, a lot of people get into ham radio because they're interested in like the, you know, what do I do if we hit this scenario where I need to be able to get a hold of my family or whatever event. They have some kind of emergency aspect to it, and then it grows into this just, you know, outstanding love of the hobby and just wanting to communicate and learn and grow and stuff, and it just keeps going from there. Well, I've always had that knack for wanting to have that emergency preparedness, and I happened upon this guy today at work. He comes in and he's got an ICOM hat on, right? That's the only thing I noticed. And so we're talking, and I go, "Hey, I like your hat. Are you a ham radio operator?" Or and he worked for the city, and I knew this, and I said, "Are you a ham radio operator, or is that mainly for commercial stuff?" And he goes, "Well, actually both." And we start talking, and he is the emergency management communications coordinator for all of the county that I live in, and he's the trustee to a group, and I'm not going to mention what it is yet because I'm not involved in it, but he gave me some information, and he said, "Hey, go check this out, and if you ever want to tour the emergency communications division of Snohomish County, you can just email me and we'll set up a time that you can go walk through and check it out. And he goes, we're technically activated right now because of COVID-19. We have all of the divisions activated and stuff. And it was just really cool to talk with him and kind of learn a little bit more about the local area. And they do a lot of the communications stuff for search and rescue, and he's part of that. And so I'm hoping that I can use some of that connection to kind of get more involved in that stuff in my area. Not that I have any time to do it, but it just when it calls your name, it calls your name, right?
Stockton, California.
Well, I mean, that's like kind of like what I was getting at with that, you know.
I
That
can
show,
give you a Cyrus Mike 0 Golf Hotel Mike Mobile.
I kind of made me rethink some of the stuff that I'm doing out here. Some batteries, you know, I've got the solar, you know, I got solar, but I realized that when the power's out, they shut me out too because I don't have any kind of battery array going. And I've spent a grip to put this thing on my roof. So what's another 5 or 6 G's to get a battery array and make sure
your audio's coming really loud and
like a Tesla backup.
Kind of hard to understand.
Yeah, something like a Tesla wall or, you know, some kind of DIY kind of thing. Just even not even going that far, but just getting some battery array together that I could charge even stupid shit like the cell phones and all these devices that everybody's running at the house and stuff like that. Just something that I could plug in the wall and just have this array running, you know, just for little things. You know, it really made me think about that.
The next week after that.
Cool. Mike, can you put like maybe some links into what you got going on there in the chat here so we can
I'll just tell you, go to Home Depot and look for power packs, and I got it. Let me see, Westinghouse iGen 300S. Again, Westinghouse iGen 300S.
Coming through as
can you post a link in the either whether it be in Zoom or in?
Oh yeah, he's got it. Okay.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Is that right? Yeah, Westinghouse iGen 300S. Yeah, no, I'm
thanks, Greg.
I'm super interested in stuff like that these days. I mean, generators are great, but I'm already got all this power running, so to come up with like a power bank that I can just constantly have running, and then when power cuts out, boom, I've just got all this power sitting in my house already. Something doesn't.
So it doesn't quite do that. Basically, it just takes like if we have a power outage, we're probably go outside like or a field day. I could just plug this in, you know, cigarette plug to 100, 220 volt
I've actually
inverters.
looked at even making some custom things like that, but I like that box. You know,
I'm really sorry.
I'm really crappy.
I wonder how many amps you can draw off that battery.
Your audio is just DMR radio.
But since 300 watts, I have to look at it again. But I was able,
on my radio, maybe not for
Hey, thanks, Brandon.
5 watts on my Icom radio, so it does work.
You know, one thing not to discount as far as the emergency communication stuff, Rick actually brought one out and showed on that Antinet, and it's such a small tool and it's easy to overlook. Just a one-way AM FM, and you can even get ones that do shortwave, and you can wind them. They have battery backup. They have solar power. They're small, and they're like, I mean, look at that thing, okay? That is like the emergency prepper thing to have right there. Like I want one. I'm gonna order one.
Eaton makes a good one.
Yeah, I've got a Midland.
Well, my neighbor across the street is a solar panel installer seller. I asked him
that's
about
another
my
thing.
house, and he goes, "Oh, you're facing the wrong way."
Then you know what, Roy? Just put the panels on the other side.
Or just turn your house. I mean,
every clock is right 2 times a day.
I could get one of the big antenna rotators and put it under the house and have it rotate along with the sun. But
actually, Aaron, W6AEF, don't you have a pretty decent like plan of power in your car? I think I saw it in that truck of yours, dude.
Yeah, so I put a link out here for Goal Zero. That's kind of the lazy hams approach, but I have a 20 amp hour Goal Zero battery pack with these solar panels down here, so I can charge and go off the grid. But I've also got solar panels on the house. I've got a power wall because of the fires out here, and just being prepared. I don't want to rely on PG&E. That's a whole nother story. But
you did do the power wall then, huh?
I sucked it up, and when you make the investment and the way they allow you to finance it and the credit you get back from the government for putting in the energy efficient stuff, it's and I'm not moving anytime soon, so it was worth it. But I've got
I
a
absolutely
Honda.
did the same thing.
Yeah, I've got a Honda generator that's a 2200i, so that'll allow me to run bigger things. It's gas, but I've got a converter to run it on gas, so you can get the propane tanks and run the generator off of propane instead of gas. So it's a little bit overdone, but I was, after that episode of the Antinet, same as you, Greg, same as you, Nick, BXX for bringing that out. I was like, oh, now it's starting to get spring. Stuff's going to start drying out. Got to start thinking about some of that stuff.
And you're in PG, and did you get some power shutdowns in your area too, Aaron, and Moraga and Lafayette?
Michael, I don't get shut down, man.
Well, I mean, did PG&E?
He's in Moraga.
Well, let's put this.
He's in Moraga.
Well, let's put it this way.
It has nothing to do with Moraga. I know.
We're subject to, since you're PG territory, we're subject to.
So I get what you're putting down. Yeah, not what Greg's saying about Moraga. But yeah, I mean, half the street could be turned off, but it doesn't affect me. So again, being very fortunate, not, then I have to tell my wife and kids to turn off the lights and stop leaving all the crap on, right? Because it'll drain the power wall down. But in the spring, the amount of energy that these solar panels produce is insane. Like the amount of energy I'm putting back into the grid is insane versus what we're using. And I often get, last year I got like a $500 credit just from all the stuff I'm putting back into the grid. It was pretty nice.
Hey, I thought I was being smart because there was that time the Fed was giving you that 33% back for your solar jobs, right? At that point, I think that was I did my solar roof in 2016 or something like that. And that's what I blew it on. I kind of bundled it, a whole new roof and solar. So it was a big solar project. Cost me a grip of money, but I should have just spent the other, $7 or $8 grand and got a power wall installed at the same time.
I didn't do it at the same time either.
You know what? I mean, I've had 2 or 3 power outages since then here, and I'm like, wait a minute, I put 28 panels on my roof. I should never, ever have to worry about this. I mean,
but it's not going to get any better, guys. You all know that. You all know, right? It's not going to get any better with rolling blackouts, with fire danger, some of the things that we've experienced over the last several. It's not going to get better.
Yeah, I think the only way.
No, I agree. It's my next deal. If I stay here in California,
I think the only
I want
way
a power wall in my garage.
I think the only way that it'll get better, honestly, as far as rolling blackouts, is if somehow the power companies were able to be completely protected against litigation in the event of an issue, because realistically, that's what it comes down to. The last thing that they want is for their power source to be the result of a problem, of a fire breakout. And so what better way to stop that than eliminate the power source, right? And that's easy for them to do. It's very inconvenient for the masses of people. And eventually it will become probably, and I'm speculating, I guess, to some degree, but I could foresee it becoming such a problem, like what you're saying, Aaron, that it's only going to get worse, that eventually people are going to be happy to vote in laws that protect the private power companies from litigation in the event of an issue, so they can keep their power on. Because that's really what they want, is to not go bankrupt over something bad happening, because the potential for it to happen is there.
Well, PG&E just got hit with another lawsuit for another huge fire, I think from 2019. So it's just going to.
Well, that makes sense. I didn't realize.
There's got to be some kind of meld between the companies and the PUCs as well. I mean, really. I mean, you look at internet companies, they're like, hey, I think 10 megabits is good for the entire country. When you have an ISP making a decision like that, it's only for their bottom line, dude. And, with power companies, I think that PUCs kind of not to need to be underneath their thumb. I think it's super political, quite honestly. I mean, I get what you're saying, Nick. I absolutely understand. But I think that they need to not be so much about the profit as much as just providing power.
Hey, man, if anything goes down, Greg, we're all going to Roy's house. That's what I've been told.
Yeah,
Roy Fisher, we're going to your house, Roy?
You can come on over. I got the motorhome. We'll hook up something.
There you go.
Over here on the other web page, and if you go to 4patriots.com, you'll see a lot of different solar panels and solar generators that they produce. And it's
I think that's another kind of DIY thing I want to do. Like, especially since I've been in the ham community, and like, it's just so much about like, hey, can you try to do this experimentation? There's not a large jump from doing solar experimentation and trying to do that to doing ham radio.
Hey, if any of you want to blow your own mind, look up how to make a solar panel. Like, I don't know for sure. You could probably find a way to do it.
Hey, Dickie,
but it's not.
Thanks for coming by, dude.
But you could totally.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, Dickie. You could. It's a whole process. It's really interesting to see. And the other thing that intrigued me for quite a while, I don't know if any of you have looked into hydrogen, like hydrogen gas as a fuel source, but you can essentially use water and use a process of electrolysis to break apart the hydrogen and oxygen molecules in water to create hydrogen gas. And you can run things like generators and stuff like that on it if you time them properly. That's been going on for a long time. They haven't molded that as much into like the automotive industry because of I think it has to do with the volatility of hydrogen. Yeah, it's pretty volatile fuel, whereas gasoline is a much more manageable fuel source.
I've looked at like what do they call that, gasification? Like wood burning, gasification. I've looked at that sort of stuff. Just like off grid kind of like power. I've got this dream, quite honestly, of buying some property up in Northeast California. Not necessarily, I don't know, Lake Shastina kind of stuff, dude, where it's just out there. And trying to make like a place I could go camping and hang out for a couple of weeks without just completely living off the grid, solar, gasification, it's wood burning, gasification. All that sort of stuff is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to like that out.
See, Greg, you're the guy I could see totally taking it to the next level. And like, I can see you like, you're probably already working on like your own private language that nobody else knows, huh?
I already speak it, dude. You already speak it.
Hey, I think Brandon was trying to break in.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, Greg, so on that solar bit, me and my wife have been looking into bans and conversions and stuff like that. Something they do a lot with off-grid is for about $4,000, you can do 2 solar panels on the roof. And they're typically either 150 watts, I've seen up to 400 watts, and they'll flow into basically 2 massive car batteries, like the $500 ones. And those are wired in series and then through an inverter. And you could be basically off grid with that thing, man. So depending on what you're trying to do in your house, I know that the Tesla wall would power the whole house, but that could be an option. and also portable. And those are pretty cool. That's pretty common what they do. Runs about $4,000, and we've looked at a lot of conversions with like vans and school buses and even ambulances and stuff, and they all pretty much use the same kind of setup.
No, yeah, you know what? I've looked at that. Thanks, Brandon. I've looked at a couple of things like that, and you know, I already, like I said, like I kind of took advantage in 2016 of the federal 33% cash back that they were giving you for a solar project. I bought a home that was built in the 80s and needed a new roof at the time. So I kind of paid too much for a roof to get 28 solar panels as well, just so I could tie this construction gig into a solar project. And they paid me 30% on it. But yeah, that was the thing that I really missed. So I've been looking at some. I mean, I think I've even looked at like homemade kind of like 1850 batteries. I've seen some guys do it. We should be talking to Kellen, ETB, you know, Entirely Tasty Burritos there. This guy is all about that sort of stuff. He's really, really bright in regards to that sort of stuff. But I thought about like some kind of battery array. I think I'm a little late on it because I'll probably be moving out of this house in the next year or two. But I just think it's an exciting technology to be able to do something like that and be completely grid independent. Like I said, I mean, I think I was kind of a newbie. I got all this. I thought I'm like, oh my God, I got 28 panels. I'm going to be great. You know, 3 boys that are running PS4s. They're not saving me any electricity, but the whole battery array thing is what I totally missed when I was doing it.
You know, a couple days after the Antinet, the emergency communication one, my power went out. And so I went and gathered a bunch of flashlights because it was starting to get dark and the kids were running around playing. And so one of the very first things I did was I hooked my radio up because I'm dealing with the noise floor issue. I hooked my radio up to battery power, turned it on. My noise floor was like an S2, you know, like super good. I could hear everything. And so the next thing I do, knowing that the interference noise had gone away, the very next thing I do, I go up to my wife. I was like, I need to go drive because I wanted to see how far the power was out, right? To narrow down my scope of where the issue was coming from. So I used the power outage to kind of find out, you know, I was about probably a square mile around me. So something within a mile of my house is within a mile radius, which that's a pretty gigantic area for me to investigate. But it was proof of concept that you can actually use little mini disasters for your benefit if you play your cards right.
Oh, definitely. And then on the topic of the hydrogen cars, did you see the Toyota Mirai, that thing that's coming out?
So I heard about Toyota doing a kind of like an investigative process involving a hydrogen only car, not a hybrid or anything like that, but hydrogen only. And it was only in Japan, but it was just a concept. I don't, and that was a few years ago.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat. So this thing, there's a guy I know down here who wants to buy one. After all the rebates and California and this and that, he said it's like $5,500 brand new car. But this thing is hydrogen. You have to get licensed to refuel it because it's 10,000 PSI and it only refuels in a couple spots. But they say you get like 400 miles on a 5-minute refueling, and they give you free fuel for 6 years or $15,000 worth. And then I guess if you go out of the local area and you can't take your car because there's like only a few places to fuel it up, they'll buy you a rental car for like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. This is super cool. Look at
really
this.
trying to push it.
It was the LA San Francisco area, wasn't it? Like I saw this on Flip Deals. It was last week or so.
there's a ton of fueling stations in Southern California and then the Bay Area, and then there's like one in Fresno. So like you're screwed outside of that, but they're pretty wild and they look really slick.
They do.
But
I really
they're
like
supposed
the
to be like the actual, no kidding, hydrogen, and then the emissions are like water. You know.
All right, so here's the thing. I mean, I'm a mild conspiracy theorist here, and there was a time in the history of the world that a conversation like this related to hydrogen power, you could end up missing because they did not want this type of technology to prevail over fossil fuels because it was such the oil industry is such a predominant industry in the world that I think politically that's a lot of what has hindered our innovation when it comes to producing some of these. And look at like this car. You guys realize the byproduct of hydrogen is water. Okay, it's completely environmentally friendly. I truly believe that hydrogen is the future of what could make long. And think about, we're talking about a car now. This is it looks like it's actually being made in limited production, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they've got
You can buy that right now. You can buy that right now.
Your screen share's not hitting YouTube.
Oh, I can let me.
If you scroll down, there's an image that actually shows the hydrogen tanks and things. Scroll down the page, and it shows essentially the power trains.
It's pretty neat. I know when I was in England, and it's pretty prevalent over there. There's like some cars that run on like a version of propane or whatever, and you can get those filled up. And I've seen some videos of those people making their own tanks, and they explode. How safe is this thing on impact? It's got to be, at least as good as gasoline. Like what?
Well, you would hope, right? I mean, it's 10,000 psi.
Yeah. So, and that's the question. Like, how reinforced are these tanks?
Right. But they have down here. There's tons of natural gas buses and stuff. So I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure it's not to the same extent, but.
I mean, yeah, and you could compare it to like propane. Propane's a pretty clean burning fossil fuel. However, propane is also, propane's a very safe gas because there's only a small margin of air fuel mixture that propane will actually ignite, and so a very dense amount of propane is relatively safe. And
like the movies where you shoot one and they explode.
No. It takes just the right, and I don't remember what it is because I'm not an expert on any of this, but I think I want to say it's like 26 to 27 to 1 or something air fuel mixture. It's a very small threshold that it'll actually burn, and it's heavier than air, so it settles. And but hydrogen
it's
is
the pressure of those things that really kind of trips me out. Like
yeah, absolutely. That's a dangerous sell as far as 10,000 pounds of pressure. I mean, keep in mind like a scuba tank, an air pressure tank for a scuba tank is typically like your standard ones are usually around 3,000, and a really high pressure tank I think is like 5,200, and we're talking double that. So. And hydrogen is
those things
volatile.
They need to be tested every once in a while. I at one point I was a huge paintball guy, and I dealt with high pressure, like CO2 tanks for a while, but after a while, high pressure tanks, and we're talking about 7,000, psi. You really want to test those things and make sure that they're still within tolerance and stuff. That's kind of the thing that trips me out about that kind of tech, albeit I think it's great and we're all about it. I mean, we could do it.
They hydro test them.
Like when they explode. Yeah, hydro testing, exactly.
Yeah, so what they do
fire department and stuff.
Yep, they put them in a specialized. It's like basically a tank that measures it measures the displacement of water around the tank when you pressurize it. So if the metal is fatigued, it'll expand and create more volume and displace more water. So there's a threshold that it can be, very small amount, but that piece of equipment measures that, and then it'll be either accepted or it'll fail, and then once it's failed, you're done with that tank. But you know, if you keep up on testing it and make sure you're not over pressurizing them and stuff like that, tanks can last for years and years and years. You know, if you store them properly, don't let them rust, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to speak on that too, like when I got here in California, my neighbor was getting rid of an air compressor, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna just take this to the dump unless you want it." I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it, bro, like for sure." And then I looked at it; it was made by Montgomery, or sold by Montgomery Ward, and I don't think those things have been around in a long time.
Montgomery Ward,
Yeah.
that's like 30 years right there.
Yeah, I think it's 30 years ago. But like, you know what? That thing runs like a dream, man. You can't. And I drain it every time. You know, I make sure it's good to go. But
Probably built like a
right,
tank.
yeah. It's I mean, it's quiet. You know, it's one of those ones I actually run inside my garage, and you can't hardly hear it. It's so quiet. So,
Hey guys, you know, I wanna do a little interruption here. We got KJ7 BRC Dickey here, and I don't know if we've heard from him too much, and I'd like to hear his thoughts as well.
Yeah. Hey, real quick. You know, Dickie, don't listen to what Greg says about, you know, singing the Ham national anthem or having a parade in your.
There is a secret handshake. There's a secret handshake.
You know, when I first
I'm
got
so
in,
new.
when I first got initiated in all this, I mean, there's lots of hazing going on. And Greg
got
was
a
like
gun inside of his
the
house. He's
ringleader.
got a gun inside of his house. It
No,
was a
Greg,
home bomb.
I'm glad you said that, because I had the same thing that I wanted to ask Dickie, because I was kind of scanning Discord. So tell us a little bit about yourself, but I was really interested in what you had, the Slow Scan TV stuff. That was very cool.
So the I'm very recent ham. I just got my general technician license, and one of the local mesh repeaters, they do a Wednesday night Slow Scan TV group. And so the first time I was just listening in, and then after they got done with that process, I messaged the guy that was leading the net and asked him, like, okay, how do you do this? What's going on here? And he told me the software to look for, NextNet. You know, I was able to bring that up on my Google Pixel 5 and broadcast with the Yaesu FT3DR. And then this, you know, did it again this time, and my kids really thought it was neat. It reminds me a lot of I'm old, so it reminds me of the old modem days where you hear that 9200 baud squelch that's gonna, you know, connect computers together. Very, very similar to that. A lot of the guys are doing something a little more fancy. They've got their radios connected directly to their computers, and they're triggering the audio back and forth. But kind of a cool concept, nice thing to be able to do. Now, next time I'm do this, I'm going to make the kids take pictures and upload them that way. But I was thinking we should do this as a group, like sometime. Try to find a spot to.
You know what would be
out,
interesting? We've kind of lost a majority of our viewers as far as tonight on YouTube. But if you'd be interested, is your real name Dickie?
Yes.
Okay. If you'd be interested, would you like to come on and maybe share a little bit about your experience and kind of how that setup works and stuff?
Sure.
That way we could put it on air and maybe get some more people interacting with it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be
I'd
awesome.
fine with that.
Hey, Dickie, where are you at, man?
I'm in Oregon.
In Oregon. Oh, okay.
What part of Oregon?
Oregon. Yeah.
Salem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I made my longest simplex contact was from on top of Mount Pilchuck to Gresham, Oregon. So that's a little bit further north of you, but as soon as I heard, you know, and I know where Gresham is, it's just outside of Portland, kind of the Portland suburbs. That was 185 miles, which was pretty good I was at like 6,000 feet.
Wow. And most of your crew is in Everett, is that right?
We're everywhere.
Right? You're everywhere now?
Yeah, we're in your
group
we're in your dreams, we're in your heart. We're everywhere. No, so I'm in Everett. There's a couple of people that come on from the Washington area. Roy up here in the chat is in Washington. He's down in is it the Tacoma area, Roy?
I'm down in Renton.
Renton, okay, so just south of Seattle.
Yeah.
But so the 2 meter crew is kind of everywhere. We have people in the UK. We've got people on the East Coast, on the West Coast here. A majority of people kind of started around the Northern California Bay Area region, is where the idea enveloped. And we utilize an RF repeater, the W6VVR, to hold the anti-net every week. But now it's kind of expanded. So we've got multiple different digital connections that are connected to multiple different repeater systems. So we're connected RF literally everywhere. Canada, all over British Columbia. I should pull up and see if the bubble chart is still linked. Oh, you guys didn't remind me. I was supposed to disconnect Coco Fusion.
Yeah, I'm not responsible for when Tim or Bobby calls you.
Yeah. I get hate mail sometimes, like at 7 o'clock in the morning. They're like, "Hey, these British guys have been talking on Coco Fusion for like the last 4 hours. You think you could kill it?" But no, the bubble chart. I'll see if it's still linked up here. No, it's just showing.
Well, with Mr. Webb over here going to Arkansas way here pretty soon. We're gonna have our. We're gonna be blowing up in the East Coast as well. I can't imagine
in the center of the country. So,
hey, Rick, you're in Oregon, right, Rick?
No, I'm in Spokane, Washington.
Spokane. Yeah, there you
the
go.
east side of the state. And Nick, you're over in the west side of the state, right?
Yeah, I'm in Everett, just north of Seattle.
Hey, by the way, Rick, I was looking at your QRZ, dude. You got a sharp picture of you, like from what was that, like 2 months ago, something like that?
1973. If you look at my QRZ page, that's 2 years after I was licensed, but it's a high school picture.
Was that 73?
That's what you looked like in high school? Whoa.
73, dude. I was born in 73.
that was my senior year in high school.
Wow.
I was looking at it, dude. Your hairline, it stuck around a lot longer than mine has, dude.
That's
I had more hair back then.
That's a cool picture, man. That's awesome, man. You see like these radios, and people are wanting these radios of the setup that you have.
Oh yeah, the radio's in that picture specifically, right?
Oh wow, that's so awesome.
That screen share, Dickie, was just kind of a representation of all the all-star nodes that are connected right now.
Oh, nice.
And that's small. Like there's times where there's almost twice as many. There's just a lot of different interconnectivity going on. So sometimes it gets really busy, and like we have, people talking over each other. And sometimes like tonight was a little bit slower. There wasn't as many people checking in, and saying hi. But it's just all kind of, it flows in and out with the tide. But I just kind of got involved in this because I was down in California, and then I moved up here and started maintaining those connections. And there was a need to have somebody just continue forward with, keeping the stream alive and stuff like that. So I just kind of go with the flow. I'm just learning like everybody else. Yeah.
That's the
That's
gig.
awesome. That's the gig.
Experimentation. Yeah. So Dickie, are
So
you
most-
working on anything new these days?
I'm still so new that everything is new for me as the new ham guy. So I'm still like digging into like how to even operate my APRS on my FT3D.
No, I get it. I get it entirely. I'm a newish ham too. I'm a COVID ham, I like to think, dude, because
That's what mine was. Yep.
I got my tech license in August and got my gen in just about half a month ago or something. But I've not really met too many folks face to face. I'm actually looking forward to, I love it. I love all the stuff. It's like drinking from a fire hose, quite honestly, all the different things you can get out.
The reason why I got into ham is my next door neighbor came over and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna like take my general," and I was like, What do you mean? And so he told me what he was doing with, ham radio, etc. And we had just gotten out of a pretty bad ice storm. And I thought, you know what, if I had this when the ice storm happened, I would been going door to door checking with neighbors, like to see if people were okay. I could have been operating part of the, the net here to go out and help people that needed, supplies or battery packs or whatever else I had, small generators, that sort of thing. So that was my primary reason. And I didn't anticipate that I'd be really communicating a whole lot on it. I thought I was going to be just really silent on the ham radio and just learn about it. You only use it during emergencies. And then I heard a guy on a net one night talk about how that happens and how when an emergency, and all these hams come out of the woodwork. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to be one of those come out of the woodwork guys. I'm going to be engaged with the community. And, when these times happen, then I'm not the ones asking for help and nobody knows who they are.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got something going on up here in Spokane that they're starting to roll GMRS, FRS GMRS handhelds into neighborhood block watch. So what they're trying to do is get ham radio operators to be like the neighborhood block watch people, that if there ever is an emergency, you get on your FRS GMRS, talk around the neighborhood, but then you've got your radio for talking longer distance. But you're kind of point.
They're doing a lot of that over by you, Aaron, right? Like the MDART guys. Like as far as like the websites I've seen over there, they recommend FRS radios for folks around your neighborhood. Actually, they seem really a lot better organized in regards to that sort of stuff than I've seen around here. They really promote that as far as like the documentation I've seen, the clubs that are associated by you specifically, W6AEF. They seem like they're on top of that sort of stuff, and I think that's great for any kind of club. Quite honestly, gets people into it, and also does that neighborhood kind of watch. It's just makes the community a little closer, quite honestly, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and if you can get your kids involved with FRS radios and then drag them into, ham from there, my daughter and, my son are already interested. Just a question of like, will they be willing to study to?
Yeah, every time we go out, I grab a little FRS radio and I throw it around. It's got a little lanyard. I put it around my son, and he just loves talking on that thing. So, trying to get him started.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's smart. I should get find my kids FRSs.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get off here, guys. I gotta help get my little one, just speaking to him, to bed. So I'm gonna say 7-3. And thanks for doing a great net, Aaron. Like you led it really well.
Awesome.
So yeah, thanks. You were checking in every mode and trying to pause, and I think there was plenty of time for people to jump in if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So that's probably the standard as far as the pause amount. So
yeah, we got to get the cake next time. The cake recipe. Mike, take care, buddy.
Yeah, here's my little one. He's ready.
What's
to
up, buddy? Hey, buddy. What's up, Marcus? What's up, kiddo?
Bye, everybody.
They grow up fast.
Bye, bud.
Bye. Bye.
Take care.
Too much Easter candy is what it is.
That's right.
Take care, Mike.
Well, I'm gonna keep the Zoom up for a little bit longer. I think we'll end the stream. We still have 9 people watching, but I'm almost positive that those are just the 9 people that we literally put to sleep. So. If anybody else is still watching, we'll say 7-3. We'll be hanging out in the chat for just a few more minutes, but
come join us over on the Zoom.
Yeah, join us on the Zoom.
Dickie,
we'll, see y'all next week.
Sorry, Nick. Dickie, it's funny you mentioned about the kids. This is a family friendly